the main goal of this forum is basically to have a channel for our stakeholders, our members, to basically be able to talk directly with the board. Of course, you can interact with us through other channels like the councils we have, but this is basically a more direct channel so that we can actually get comments directly from you. Obviously, all our meetings, they have been open traditionally. The difference between this particular event is that it's a two-way channel. So it's not just you are able to listen, but you are able also to ask questions, and we will be basically, providing responses or addressing your comments. So that's what makes this session quite special. The ground rules is like you are joining by Zoom. So if you have a question, just please state it on the chat room. Put raise hand or something like that, and then they will basically turn your webcam and your audio on, and you will be able to speak. I've been warned that while they do that, it takes like 10-15 seconds. So don't panic if nothing is happening. Your Zoom may basically freeze or do something for 10-15 seconds. Then you will be able to speak. Another different thing we are doing this time is that this session will be recorded, so you will be able to basically see what happened in the future. More ground rules. We have also people on site here. So if somebody wants to speak, please make a line on the mic. Let us know, and we will basically do the floor control, combining remote participants with people on site. Okay, and I think that covers the ground rules. So basically, we are open for questions.
Gonzalo, we have a question from Jolie from New York.
Okay, thank you.
Am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, the first thing I'd like to sort of talk about is the intercommunity. And I think that Kathy is onto something, basically, to Jihan's point about having a star, is that Kathy's point that the community is the star. And so the fact that everybody gets together is the thing that we promote. That's the story. That's the big story about the thing. Perhaps you do need an attraction to make it, okay, why have we got to be there? And I had to think about that. And my suggestion would be that you use it to promote beyond the net by having some kind of award of money that's going out. Maybe each region can vote on a beyond the net that's in their region that gets an award that's announced on that day. So we're all there to see who wins or something like that, to make it, okay, we've got to be there, and that's why we're going to be there, or something like that, some reason. So, so that was my kind of thought on that. A technical point on the last intercommunity, there was a problem that if you were in a node, they had this wonderful interface if you were an individual sitting at home on your computer, but if you're in a node, you couldn't see that. And I'm hoping that that's kind of going to get resolved this time, that we have the same kind of level of involvement at the nodes as we do at and it may be that we need 2 screens, at the nodes. That's going to have to be the way it's set up so that, you can see stuff. And so I have more stuff, but I don't know if you want to respond to that.
Well, thanks for the input. I mean, as we were discussing before, I mean, this type of input is excellent, and the timing is perfect because now is when we are basically planning for that. So it's very much appreciated. I don't know if someone wants to address that directly. Kathy?
I'm always happy to. Thanks, Julie. I think both of those comments are, to me, they resonate with me, that we want to make the Internet Society the center of this. I think Guion's point that we need a draw is probably a good one. I like the idea of the Beyond the Net, and we have to see how we have some beautiful projects right now. I don't know if you've been watching the list of these, and there's things to actually talk about there. So let's keep these ideas coming in as we're in the creative stage here. I think, and as to the technology, I see Todd shaking his head saying, yes, we knew that we had to do something about that, and that's on the list to make sure we've improved it.
Okay, and then on to the point of point of everybody being able to see the board together. Well, if you were to live stream the board meetings, then people would all see the board together. It's a very good thing, and not very many people actually see it going on.
Right.
So and I do appreciate there's been progress that the open forum is now being recorded and everything. So so yes to that. And then I have some comments just in terms of presentations, that we're not seeing presentations from on chapter development, on from the development team, from Deploy 360, etc., etc. So how does it work? You only do those once a year, and you don't do them at the others. How does that work?
Would you like me to? Yeah. So this meeting, of course, is a lot of business going on, as you know. There was an election this morning. That was most of the morning. They're setting up committees. So the report is a bit truncated, usually at this meeting. And you'll see presentations tomorrow. You are correct that it's not everyone. In the November meeting, of course, you'll see those presentations because they will be about the next year's planning. So all of those staff will be available and talking. And then we did it the first quarter. We did a lot of review the first quarter. So I agree with you, it's not every meeting. And I think part of our community forums, and you can help me with this, is to make sure that the community hears what they want to hear with respect to the actual work going on. So that was the addition of the community forum as well. So we get that information out.
Community forums are good, and I believe there should be more of them. And as I said before, I believe that they can be, very ad hoc more so than they are. And I was very happy to see Jane announce this one today, about community networking. That's just 2 weeks ago, and I think that's the kind of thing that should go on. I want to say how much I appreciate the work that Jane Coffin does. And as I follow, the webcasting around the world, I see where she is and what she does. Stuff like the Caribbean, PIF, the other day, and this thing that she was at in Barcelona just this week. Are really for us to have a presence in all these regions is such good work. And I want to just mention a few other people. I mean, I'd like to congratulate Sally on producing another potential member for the Internet Society. I'd like to congratulate Mark Buell for filling the gap as a North America regional manager, and he's already, we're experiencing, thorough support from him, unprecedented, I might say, practically. So that's appreciated too. And then I'd like to mention Constance and this webinar that she just did with the special rapporteur on privacy, which I am actually today working on the transcript of that, was a really good event. And her, webinars that she's doing on policy, very good work. So this is the kind of stuff that we just love to see. And I'd like to see more of this kind of thing from the Deploy team, who have not been doing this kind of thing. So that's a suggestion. And I think for now, that's my lot. I hope someone else is online and can talk.
Thank you very much for all the input and comments, actually. Yeah, and we are glad that you like this type of session. Actually, it's very useful to get feedback like this. Yeah, we will wait for someone else to. Oh yeah, Wally. Yeah, please.
Thank you indeed for those great comments. Now I think we need to throw the ball to you as the board and get more comments, or let's say suggestions concerning the board itself. What do you think we as board members ought to do at this stage, and how do you perceive our do you see the work that we're doing reflected, and do others like you understand and see what we're doing?
I wouldn't say yes or no to that. I think I see more what staff are doing than the board, and so the board kind of works to the staff. I mean, I I would like to hear some discussion if you've got nothing else better to talk about than the little discussion that we had on Internet Policy List last week, where about, you know, the difference between being a cause-driven organization versus a member-driven organization, whether you think that's going to change.
Somebody wants to comment on that?
No, that's a curveball.
Okay, maybe I'll
Gi-
comment.
please.
We fell
Yes.
right in your trap.
Yeah, I don't really see a difference because a cause is defined by the members. So we have to figure out what the members feel is the cause and then go according to that. This doesn't mean that if all the members vote that we fly paper airplanes, we do that like we did in Auckland. But it does mean that our cause could change from time to time. And we do need to be very much responsive to our members. I mean, we should not say that, oh, we have a cause and we don't care about the members. That's completely wrong.
Hans-Peter.
Jolly, thanks to bringing up this point. There's no direct quick answer, yes or no. No possibility to, and I wouldn't say it doesn't make sense to change such a thing on short notice. But what I can assure you, this is a topic we are discussing and we are thinking quite thoroughly about it, how it can be tackled, what it would bring to us, what the positive sides are, what the negative sides are. And we are more or less at the start of a long-term rethinking process of the future of the internet and the future of ISOC in the internet. So yes, this is a topic which will be discussed, but I cannot say, or I wouldn't dare to say what the outcome of this discussion will be.
To me, the whole idea of members, and this is what Raul, this has been brought up in another conversation when we had a North America hangout with Raul, and he said, well, members, is a very wide range of people, from organizations through to individuals, and so, there's a very great diversity. So, it's hard, some people think, well, members are all just people like them, which is not true, so. One has to think about it. To me, I kind of take the point, which is sort of put, I love what I love about the Internet Society and why I put my energy into this rather than anything else is because it is inclusive of all kinds of people, and it does have this mission, and that that we share, and that the idea of having having the staff work on expressing the cause, and then we as the local chapters work on expressing that cause locally using the greater sort of brain power and think tanking of the staff makes all sense to me. And I'm not a radical in this respect. I'm very appreciative.
Okay, thanks for the comment. We seem to have more people in the queue for questions, so we're gonna move ahead to them. So thanks again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So please, can we move to the next speaker? Okay.
Sorry, I thought we had another question from Avery.
Avery?
No. Sorry, that may have been my mistake.
Avery says she's done for the day.
Okay, so it was more of a comment than a question.
We think we should be merciful that Dave Burstein isn't here.
Okay, we'll basically wait for more questions then.
I can say that because he's in my chapter.
Okay.
Well, I'll fill up some space since we're not waiting. Jolie, I appreciate your perspectives, as you know, and you have been, I think, one of our most faithful and most prolific members who's done so much for the Internet Society with your filming, with the way you think about things. We need so many more of you. So part of what we need is to think about how that can happen for us across the world. So as you think about these big thoughts, I really appreciate, how do we get folks who are as dedicated to the cause, as you say, but also who are willing to do some muscle here to advance it in ways that have been really productive, I have to say. So help us think about that. I think you're quite unique in that this is what you want to do, but there are others out there, I think, who would do this, and we know there are across the world. Anyway, any thoughts there are always welcome.
I'm very encouraged actually by our new VP, Shuli Halak, who I don't know if you paid attention to her, but she's sort of like recently recruited, but she actually spent a considerable amount of time going out and photographing internet infrastructure just as a project. And she's, to have someone who's like basically who's an infrastructure freak, at that not at the application layer, but at the at the bottom layer is fascinating to have. But she's young, and I'm hoping that through her, locally as a chapter, and I've been involved, through the webcasting, I've been involved with students running, internet kind of conferences, and there is a lot of sort of, I feel that there's going to be some kind of breakthrough at some point where these people are going to suddenly recognize that the Internet Society is just where they need to be, and they suddenly come swarming in. That's my hope.
Yeah, thanks. We still have a bit more than 10 minutes, so we'll be, waiting for more questions.
And I would have liked to have seen a little more about the website update. I guess that's coming later.
So
tomorrow, Joy.
Tomorrow, we're gonna, as Kathy said before, actually, we have scheduled more presentations. Today was a lot of process, which we understand it would be boring, but it's needed actually. So tomorrow will be probably more interesting to you guys.
And I'll say that we've been planning on the IGF USA. It's all going ahead for July 14th, and it looks like it's going to be a very good event. And one of the key things is going to be in keeping with the ISOC strategic policy. Is there's going to be one major panel on access. I think it's actually going to be two on access. So we're going to really look at that. And then on cybersecurity here in New York, in October is going to be National Cybersecurity Month for the whole of America, and we're going to be involved in an event on October 5th here in New York, a joint cybersecurity conference that we're working on. It's going to be quite a big event with 4 tracks. It's running. It'll be at Microsoft at Times Square, and I had hoped to bring in Olaf for that, but I've never managed to really get hold of him, and the kind of window is closed really to pull someone in. But I'm looking forward to that, and webcasting 4 tracks at once is going to be a bit of a challenge for me, but we'll be pulling it off.
Good luck with that.
And the thing I raised at the last meeting, is going back to my point, is like local chapters being able to sort of present, the wisdom to our local people. Is I said, well, we need briefing decks and scripts so that we can go out and present. I actually had a meeting with Sally about this down in Reston, and we did talk a bit more about it. And I know that she's got busy, and so we haven't sort of gone further. But it's something that I still want to see, good briefing materials that people that don't really know too much can take and like present to people who know even less about these topics.
So we've been talking about that. Constance is not in the room right now, but she's filling in for Sally. And so there's sort of briefing in a box, as she calls it. I think we started with the policy papers, but to your point, there's materials that people need. And they're pretty much, I was just talking with James and Aisha about this just this week. What could we do? It's a capacity building kind of thing to provide that for chapters who would want it. We've sort of been focusing a lot on these framework ideas. And then we need some help thinking, well, what kind of materials do you need in your hand when you're going to see whom? Who's your audience? So I think you've got us going, and I think there's thinking about this. So let's keep pursuing it.
I'd like to be able to write out to my chapter membership and say, hey, we're looking for volunteers that will go to schools and present to school kids on what the internet is, the history of the internet, what the Internet Society is, and here's your deck and here's your script.
Right. So I think we need a bunch of categories of things. These take some time and effort to put them together. So we've got to figure out, well, what's the first 5 things people would want, which is what we did on the policy papers, right? So I think we got 13 of them out there now. Do you want to take 5 of them and go deeper? How should we go at this? But clearly there's conversations about this.
Sorry, could I just add one more thing to thank Jolly for all the efforts of all your webcasting that you do. Because the board will be meeting on November 13th and 14th in Hyderabad, as we decided today. Just wanted to 10/11th. 10/11th. Okay, so there is a meeting in New York which I won't be able to make, which is on 13th and 14th, and we are sponsor Internet Society. It's called the platform coop.net. It's in New York, so it's it's in your neck of the woods. And I wonder if you are planning to make it. He's mute.
Okay, we cannot hear you any longer.
Trevor Schultz, you will be talking about there. And did I webcast it last year? Yes.
Wonderful, thank you. So we can look for your support on doing that. Thank you again.
Oops. I'm also expecting to do Planet Hope, the Hackers on Planet Earth thing. And at the moment, I'm talking to Mark if we can finance that or not. So it's not totally confirmed, but that's a very good conference too. And it was a thing that Sally mentioned was, about, our outreach was that people have been saying to her, the people who really care about some of this stuff is gamers. But gamers care about latency, they care about infrastructure, they care about, and how can you reach those people? And the place where we do find those people is at the Hackers on Planet Earth conference. That's where we do see them down there.
We still have 5 minutes, so if anyone out there has more questions, now would be a perfect time to ask.
And what I would say is that if you live stream this whole thing, you'd have more people watching and more people asking questions right now.
Well, I mean, that may be true, actually. Yeah, there may be people that are interested in what happened as opposed to participating, which is negative. But I think the alternative of not recording it would be even worse, right? So I think we are making the right decision.
I'm talking, the board of trustees meeting as a whole, and that you kind of break it up into like, executive and public. So maybe you have one day that's public and one day that's executive or something, and then just live stream the whole one thing, which is all the presentations, and do all the other business the other day, and get people, so that, it might be a way to think about it.
Yeah, we will think of that, and also how to optimize the actual running of the meeting. So that's good feedback, actually. Yeah, we are always thinking of how to run it more effectively. So yeah, we'll be absolutely looking into that. That's important. I mean, my point is like not only for you guys, but also for the efficiency of the actual meeting. So that's actually a very good point. So 3 minutes to go.
Well, my last word, I'll also say how I like working with Todd. I find him a very good person to work with.
he smiles. Okay, he's saying the feeling is mutual.
So Jolly, thanks for hanging in there with us.
All right. Okay, one more. Can we get more ISOC T-shirts, please?
We're working on all of the branding colors and all of that. So we have things coming up that you'll see. I think James put out a piece yesterday. I don't know if you saw it. Go on and see. He just a little on some of the colors and stuff. So maybe we can come up with something.
Okay, I mean, let me use the last minute just to say that tomorrow we have another session. So that's going to be 9:30 Cancun time. So you calculate, what time is that in your own time zone, and so you have actually a few hours to think of questions, and so that we have also an interactive session tomorrow, our morning. Okay.
Thank you.
So I think at this point we would like to close the meeting. So thank you so much for all the comments and good suggestions. We will be following it. Up on them, and to all the community. See you tomorrow. Thank you.